How does a truckie who's at the top of his game in the transport industry throw it all in to start a business spraying water at stuff in an industry that he knows nothing about, and in his first month does $22,000? Why does a tech founder who's built and sold a software company want to do the same?
Driving around and just looking at the amount of houses that just need something done.
And why are corporate escapees looking for options in the home service industry? Tell us about the corporate world.
Oh, look, the corporate world is energy zapping.
I'm Marty, and this is Freshfront. It's a business that I've built over the last decade, and we're now franchising. Probably gotten this far, so we'll head back to the office and I'll tell you all about it. So I ran this business for nearly 10 years before we franchised, before we sold the first franchise even, before we even started marketing it. And at that point, I'd built it up to 1.5 million in revenue, a bunch of trucks, a bunch of staff, tons of reviews. We'd won awards with the Australian Trades Champion, our local Chamber of Commerce, and we recently just won a BDC Partners Emerging Giants Award for franchising. Thank you, the fact that we get this opportunity. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is this isn't a concept, a good idea that we're just trying to sell. It's actually just a real business that has been putting food on the table for my family for a long time. I guess guys like Luke would agree that it's real. Luke was a truckie for 20 years and he wanted to do something more for his family and challenge himself and build a business. He joined us as a franchise partner, never ran a business before, and did 22 grand in his first month. Profit in that, you don't have to, we're not going to talk numbers, but
there's definitely profit in that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. He's now looking at how he can get into his second truck and build a really serious business. Or Daniel, who was my staff member and saw us build the business and under the hood and all the things we were doing. When he got the opportunity to start his own franchise with us, he jumped at it and he did 29,500 in his first month. No brainer. And yeah, exterior cleaning seems simple and a bit boring. It seems like just pressure washing driveways. Believe me, it's not. There's more to what we do here, but yeah, boring businesses have great margins. They're scalable and home services, huge opportunities. I used to be a bit anti-franchise. I used to think franchises were a bit shit, probably because I had the same negativity bias that everyone else had out there. I didn't take the time to actually research the ones that work well and learn about the good stories. So you generally just hear about the bad stuff, right? You hear about your mate's uncle that bought some unnamed franchise and lost all his money. Maybe he was the wrong guy for the franchise. Maybe the model was no good. Maybe he didn't do his due diligence. There's all these kind of things that play a part in that. And I guess I just towed along with that same negativity bias. It all changed for me when I went to a trade show. I got invited to be a speaker at an exterior cleaning trade show in the Gold Coast. Really cool. And in the middle of winter in Adelaide, I jumped at the opportunity to go be in the sun and talk about my business. I nervously shared the story of how I'd built Freshfront from zero to our first $1 million year, and all the mistakes that we've made along the way and what I'm trying to do moving forward. That was really powerful. A group of exterior cleaning business owners watched with intent, felt like they hung upon every word, probably because they'd gone through all the same shit that I've gone through. I guess, found a way to push through it and get to where I wanted to go. After the talk, that was further reinforced. Lots of people were asking, what software do we use? How do we do marketing? How do we get staff? How do we fund the second truck? How do we know when it's time to get that staff member? How do we make sure that they do a good job? How do you get 5-star reviews? The list goes on. The thing that hit home for me was all of the questions that they had, I'd already solved. The problem is, there was no magic bullet. You can't just tell someone the answer. Often there's a series of little tweaks and things that need to be pulled down and built back up, and eventually you just start rebuilding the whole business from scratch. And that's been my experience throughout building Freshfront. Years and years of iteration, building things up, ripping it down, making it better and improving. It takes a lot of time. That trade show really hit home hard. I remember sitting on the plane thinking, no one really knows what they're doing here. It's a classic fragmented industry, and maybe what we've got is worth something. That really stuck with me for a long time. And I spent the next period of time working out how we can take what we've got, use it to grow Fresh Front, and get similar people involved that can do great things in the industry. That's when it came back to franchising. That's what franchising is. Linking up great people with a great proven model and having shared incentives and a shared upside. So it was at that point it all made sense. I had to eat my words, and I couldn't be the anti-franchise guy, and here I am building a franchise. Wild. I should mention, in 2016 when I started, I was probably just like you. I wanted to do something more. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to escape corporate to get some security so I could control my own destiny. Unfortunately, I probably did it in the worst possible way. Quit my nice paying corporate job, had a house with a big mortgage, a baby on the way, and just backed myself into the corner. For me, that worked out well, but I respond well to that challenge. I learned a lot about myself, but I know lots of other people don't like that and don't perform well under that kind of pressure. And once again, a great franchise system can alleviate a lot of that. I spent the next while really trying to build the business and the system that I wished I had when I started back in 2016. To the training, to the software, the technology stack. We even rebranded all of the business. We built new websites. We revitalized our software. We changed some of our processes. I even scaled down my own operation and went back to running it like a 3 franchise unit. So we jumped back on the truck and we ran 3 trucks like a franchise to prove the model and further refine things. That was a 2-year process within itself, just to get it to the point where we felt comfortable to put expressions of interest out there. I'm not here to sell anything, but I wanted to create a product that would really help people, that would be successful quickly. I also understand that when people get involved in a franchise, it's not just a half-assed, piss in the wind kind of thing. It's changing someone's life. It's family. It's, home life. There's a lot to take on here, and I'm very respectful of that, and I want to make sure that it's a win-win for everyone. So from the outside, this looks like a bunch of guys or girls with pressure washers spraying water around in cool trucks. And look, that's part of it. Yeah, there's a bit of fun there, but under the hood, there's a serious business system at play, and here's what it looks like. If you're a franchise partner, leads are one of the most important things that you'll need for your business. Leads are the lifeblood of your revenue. If you take out the pressure cleaning or the service, essentially Fresh Front is a lead generation company. So as the franchisor, that's our job. So we generate leads using Meta ads, Google AdWords, we run local SEO. We also run automations and things like that to capture those leads. In addition to that, we have a team who can book and qualify the leads. And we've recently just built a 24/7 instant online booking engine where customers can basically just self-service book in a quote. So once the leads are booked, they go straight into a franchise partner's schedule. And at that point, there's a series of automations to keep the customer in the loop. And at this point, the franchise partner hasn't really had to do anything. They've got to watch their schedule and manage their time accordingly, but they're not spending hours on the phone. They're not spending half the time on the phone on the job site. They're not chasing people after hours. They're simply focusing on providing good service for the customer and running their own operations. And we've taken a lot of that complexity off their plate and made life a little easier. What that means is, life is easy. You can scale the business much easier. You can actually have some free time, so things are more manageable. It's the result of what I've gone through when I didn't have that. Once the leads are booked, the franchise partner heads out and quotes the jobs up. There's a whole system and process that we have around that. There's a bunch of technology that helps us do it really quickly so we can get quotes out. They can be accepted on the spot, deposited, booked into the schedule, and we're off at the races. Or if they need follow-up, there's a series of automations and tools to help do that. Once the job's completed, the system can send out automated review links, to make sure that the franchise partner gets reviews and builds their reputation in the area. We take that and do local SEO to further rank their location. We can also do things like rehash, where we contact previous customers and get them back into the schedule for the franchise partner. So it means that they're building their business incrementally, getting repeat customer base over the years, and building something with more value. And what this does is it allows a franchise partner to focus on what actually moves the bloody needle. Getting customers, doing great work, building a team, making sure they're getting paid, building reputation, and rinse and repeat. They're not dealing with how to run the latest version of meta ads. They're not trying to hook up their Facebook pixel to their website. They're not trying to build a website that's not going to work anyway. They're not spending all day on the phone. They're not wondering how to do the jobs because everything is trained. All the services are dialed in. We have a very strict and repeatable service offering. It makes for a predictable and profitable business, and that's what we all want, right? And you're probably having that thought of, well, that sounds great, Marty, but you guys are new. There's a risk here. Yeah, I'll call it out. Of course there's a risk. Like all new things, all business, there is risk. But it's important to understand that this is not a new business. We're just new to franchising, and we're doing it, I feel, the right way. We're not trying to sell hundreds of units. We're trying to find the right people that the system's going to work really well for, and people that want to build a bigger business out of it. See, the intent here is not to have thousands or hundreds of fresh front franchise partners. It's a pretty tight-knit group of people that we're looking to build. People that are interested in building solid businesses and see the value in all the systems we've built. And that's the biggest point of difference with a fresh front business. You can scale it and grow it. The territories are big enough to do so. And that's what we want to do. We're not looking to just purely sell lots and lots of franchises. That doesn't work for our model, and it's something that we're just not doing. But one of the good things about being part of a new system is there's plenty of upside. Territories are available. So you can grow into further territories if you're good, of course. So that's a tremendous upside where other systems are already quite sold out, quite populated. You're just another number. Being early to something has a lot of advantages, and yeah, it has a little bit of a risk, but people who understand business are okay with taking the right risks, and it's about making an educated decision. From a risk perspective, we got a lot more to lose because I've put 10 years of my life into this thing. I really want it to work. I want to make sure we get the right people involved, and I want to make sure that we get success. So everything that we do as a franchisor at the moment is all about success for our franchise partners and nothing else. Another cool thing about being part of an early franchise system is you get access to the early team, the founder, me. You get to pick my brain. Of course, we've got systems for support and things like that, because if I'm asleep, you might need some help or something along those lines. But we have direct chats together. We're building a business together. It's a fantastic thing. You're not a number. You're not going to be going through a call center. You get to deal with me and my team. And like I said, we're all about success. Another clue that we might be onto something is the attention that we're getting from the franchising world at large. Winning the BDC Partners Emerging Giants competition was a big one for us. It shows that the system that we have stands up in the franchise world, and that was a competition where we had to pitch the business in front of a panel of seasoned franchise or experts. So they saw the value in the model, they saw the unit economics, and I think one of the things they really liked was me as a founder and my dedication to franchisee success. I really do give a shit about making sure people are successful, because I see that if we're all in this together and we do it the right way, we can share the upside. So if you've gotten this far, and look, I know most people don't, but if you've gotten this far and you're serious about things, have a look through this page, read everything. It should answer most of the questions, but there's going to be more, and you probably want to grill me with a whole bunch of other questions. And hey, guess what? I'm totally up for that. So the next stage is to book a call with me. Click the link below, jump on, answer some questions to see how this looks for you, and book a call and we'll have a chat. On that chat, I'll be totally transparent about numbers, territories, anything you want to know. We're very, very transparent. And that ultimately leads into a ride-along day where you get to come, jump on the truck, see what everyone's doing, and speak with all of our franchise partners and get more information. I built this thing for people that have got more to give than their current situation allows for. If that's you, I'd love to chat.